Hello, hey, my viewers. So, welcome to my channel. We do women empowerment, defying the odds. And today I have a special guest. She's from Grenada, but not just Grenada, a tiny little island outside Grenada called Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And because the island is tiny, it has nothing to do with the power and the magnitude of this ladies that we're going to interview in this video. So, I have Vanella with me, and she'll tell us a little more about herself. And then later on, we have Jamora with us. Before I go into that, though, my mom's from Carriacou. So once again, I want to shout out Carriacou. Hi, Carriacou, my mom's from Carriacou. I really like Carriacou. I love Sandy Island. Whoo, whoo. And I remember I was hanging out on Hillsborough Beach and just sitting there and watch the boats. And no, I can't swim, but I'm sure Avanella could. So Avanella, I'm so excited. It was hard getting you here because you girls are very busy. And I have some teenagers that watch my channel, so they'll be very happy to hear from some very empowering young ladies like yourself. So tell us your name, and if you don't mind, you can tell us your age. If you don't want to, it's fine. Tell us a little about yourself. I can't hear you, Avanella. I think you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. Apnella Andrew, originally from Grenada, presently in Jamaica. Well, I grew up in Grenada, small island, as she said, Carriacou. Very nice community with lovely people. I am 17 years of age. And yes, presently I attend the St. Jago High School in Jamaica. I was given this scholarship thanks to Mr. McIntosh and his team, the Grenada Sports and Wellbeing Foundation.
So I can't, you can speak a little louder. I'm hearing you, but if you can speak a little louder, will be great.
Okay.
I know it's a noisy environment and it was hard to find a good spot.
Oh,
your best. But your picture is perfect. So what I got though, you're from Carriacou and Mr. Trevor McIntosh. He's sort of your manager. And he
yes.
What's the name of your sports club, Grenada?
Grenada Sports and Wellbeing Foundation.
Okay, so before we go into you, do you want to tell us a little bit about Mr. Trevor McIntosh? And that's how I got in touch with you guys. So thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for introducing me to this wonderful young ladies I'm going to interview now. But tell us a little bit before we talk about you of a Grenada sports club.
Yes, well, honestly, in Carriacou, there are not much opportunities for us young athletes, not even athletes. People who are talented in all areas, there are not much opportunities. Even to get an opportunity, you have to travel on the mainland, Grenada itself. And Mr. McIntosh was one of those persons who were just there trying to seek opportunity for young persons to get out and make something of themselves. Wow. And there aren't many of them trying to do that. So I really thank him for doing that and giving us this opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is really nice because as myself too, I used to do track when I was younger. No, you can't tell. I did bring my cap though, so I can look like a track star, but oh, here it is. I'll put it on. We'll both look like athletes now. I feel like I was running in a hot sun, but I used to do track and yeah, we never had people, at our level that would sort of mentor us and get us into learning the sport and all this stuff like that. It's nice that Mr. Trevor McIntosh had done this for you guys. Yes. So always into track though? Were you always an athlete or you just kind of joined the club and liked it?
Yes, I always was an athlete. I've been running since grade 2, if I could remember correctly. Over my training days, though, I've changed coaches probably 3 times. But when I finished school, I had plans of doing athletics for the year before I start my other level of education. And within that time, there wasn't anybody really to coach because, as you know, Carriacou is very small and there aren't much coaches available. And Mr. McIntosh knew about me, he knew my talent, and he came to my parents with the opportunity. And thankfully, I went with him and I'm here now.
So what does he, and we'll shout at your parents, so you want to give your parents a shout?
Yes.
You mentioned your parents. What's their names?
Kenisha and Roger Andrew. They've always been behind me, supporting me and encouraging me to pursue athletics because it is a way out and it is a way to get a better life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what did Mr. McIntosh, so what exactly happened? So you always did track and I'm sorry, I missed your high school because you were chipping in and out. What high school did you go to in Carriacou?
Oh, I attended Hillsborough Secondary School. Shout out to them also because they helped me along the way. Mr. George and Mr. Linda, the principal, and the entire staff. Yes.
Okay, so I know where Hillsborough is because I've passed it a few times when I went up that way. Left because my mom lives right off the jetty. That's how I do my bearings. I get off the jetty, my right, and I know the school and stuff is to the left. So shout out to Hillsborough School, Mr. George and the principal and so forth, and Mr. McIntosh. So you did track. So you did track in Hillsborough. Mr. McIntosh found you. Did he coach you guys? What does he provide? And then sent you off to Jamaica?
Well,
to Jamaica.
Antonia McIntosh, she works along with him. So she was my coach during the course of that time. And I want to thank her also because I did not make it easy for her at times, numerous times. And she continued to work with me until I got the opportunity. So I want to thank them.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us now. So you're coming from a tiny island and called Carriacou, and now you got an opportunity. So tell us first when you got that, when they told you were accepted to go to Jamaica. Tell us what that felt like.
Well, honestly, I always wanted to make it out, because during my course of running, I always had competition, so it was always like I always had to put my best foot forward. And many times I was injured or I was just not good enough to make it. And when I got the opportunity, I was really shocked, to be honest, because, it's like I was always walking because I always, since I can remember myself, I always been running. And it was just great because my parents always wanted that for me. And even though this is not, it's just a foot forward, but it was a really big opportunity for me. And yeah.
So you get that call on a Friday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day he told you, you over the phone, because now you finally you got that way out because you're saying it's a way out, and I guess from that small island, it's harder to get recognition as a track star. So now you got your way out. What kind of feelings were in your mind when you told your parents, or you're running home to tell your parents, or
Well, actually, they got the news before me, so I was kind of last to get it. They I guess they were waiting to surprise me, so they already knew. So I was really surprised.
Okay, that's good. So how soon after did you have to leave Carriacou to get to Jamaica, though?
Actually, we were supposed to leave earlier than we left. We left January. Well, we arrived here January 17th. We were supposed to actually leave, I think, in November. So we actually came later than we were supposed to. Sorry.
It's okay.
So we actually came later than we were supposed to.
So did you have months of preparation to tell your friends goodbye, or it was just in a matter of weeks you're gonna leave?
Well, I think I had enough time. But to be honest, it was just all about, I got the opportunity, go for it and make the best of it.
Oh, that's good. So there wasn't much tears when you were leaving.
I mean, there was, but I guess I was always ready to take on the opportunity, and it came.
Wow, that is very mature, because I mean, no, it shows your level of maturity and saying that you really wanted this. So I know you live in France, and Jamaica is much bigger than Grenada, and Grenada is much bigger than Carriacou. Well, not much bigger, but bigger, by a good size. Jamaica, the culture is different. I mean, yes, we all of Afro-Caribbean descent and other mixed cultures and stuff, but in my opinion, Jamaica is more like a New York for us, right? In terms of things, Yeah. So moving to this small island, Carriacou gets really quiet in the evenings. What I could remember as a child, and then moving to Jamaica, leaving your friends behind. But I know you're saying it was sad, but because you were I find you quite mature because you wanted that opportunity. So listen, this is it. I gotta make some change. This is my opportunity. So tell us, so you landed in Jamaica. Was it hard to adopt? Because are you still a student though?
Repeat?
Are you going to school also and doing track?
Yeah, we're going to school also.
So how's that? How's the adoption? How is managing both the track and the education?
Okay. Well, at first, coming into the country, it was very new because the accent is different, the way they do things is different. So it was very hard to even understand what they were saying at first. Yeah. But eventually, I learned it. I learned some of the culture and so on. And as of handling sports and athletics, I mean, coming from school, from my high school, I was used to handle both, and I didn't have, it was never really like a big problem. It was just all about knowing what you want, and they both go hand in hand. So in order for you to achieve this, you must do that, you know. So it's like, but I was always accustomed doing it, so it was never really like new to me.
So that's good. So at least being home doing track in school prepared you for going to Jamaica doing track in school. And you mentioned something I didn't want to say because I wanted to hear if you were going to mention it. Yes, your accents are different from Jamaican. So, and it's not just about the accent, but the words they use. They use a lot of different words that even for me, when I ran into Jamaica, even now, I'm like, what? You know,
Yes.
what you're trying to say, you know? Every culture, every island. There are some islands that we share certain common words and accents and slangs with, but Jamaica is really far for us from, like, I've never met a Jamaican in Grenada, I think one, you know, so until I came to Canada, then I speak. So I could imagine, yes, adopting, even if they look like us a lot, but culture.
Yes.
Right? But so tell me, what do you do? What field events or track, what races do you do?
Well, I participate in the 4, the 1, and the 200 meters. Specifically, well, I don't really do all 3, but I mean, I can do all 3, but I don't really do all 3. Coaches mainly make me focus on 2, the 200 and 400 meters.
Oh, the 200 and the which one?
And the 400.
Okay. You sound like a young me. Yes, I did the 100. We did 150 and stuff. But 2 was really breaking. 4 and 2 was my thing. But when they need a backup, you know, for the 4x1, really, I'll do the 4x1 and stuff like that. But you know what? How are you doing in school though? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm doing fine in school. I mean, it was sort of a big adjustment because we came in late and we had to catch up on everything that they did. Additionally, it was only online classes, so that was a little bit harder. But I settled in, catched up, and yes, I'm doing fine. We have exams coming very soon too. So
okay. So is it at a high school level you're doing you're still in high school still now? I'm not sure exactly how to.
Yeah, it's like a higher level. It's like a higher level.
Okay, so it's like a higher level of high school.
Yeah.
So what's the goal? What's the end goal though? So you move from Carriacou to Jamaica. How long do you have to stay there first of all? And what's the end goal of this program for you?
Okay. So it's a 2-year scholarship, and the goal for me is to actually, after I'm finished here, be running good enough times to obtain a scholarship and move on and eventually go pro. That's the goal.
Wow, go pro. So maybe move somewhere to the US or represent Grenada. So your plan is though to move to the US, I'm guessing, to when you're going pro, or you're going to go back to Grenada?
Yeah, the goal is to obtain a good scholarship, and in the US, yes, in a good college, and eventually go pro, yes. Okay. To represent Grenada.
So we're rooting for you, and you and Jamora, and we'll see Jamora in the next video, in the next slide. And we're rooting for you, Avanella, and you know, I believe you will go pro. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, keep balancing them well, put in the effort. You already made the right decision, you know, you left your friends behind, you moved to a strange island to do this. And I'm guessing that you obviously put in maximum effort because this is what you always dreamt of, right? If you had to tell me, were there hardships? I know you mentioned, you know, the accents and, you know, you're late in school. Were there times you wish you didn't do this? Were there times you wish you were back home with your friends and your parents? And
I mean, yeah, there are times that it gets a little tough around here, you know, some things that I'm not used to. So sometimes I'd be like, I wish I stayed at home. But you know, the easy way out is never the best way. So sometimes, you know, just fight it out.
How do you overcome that? I don't know if you can get into that. Like, what do you do when you miss home, when you're homesick, and you know, what keeps you motivated?
Well, I just try to remember why I came here in the first place, and remember what's the goal, to continue going. Yes.
I like that. I like that. So for all my young viewers out there and the adults, just remember your goal, remember what brought you there and keep going. So yes, you're gonna feel homesick. You're gonna miss your parents, you're gonna miss your friends. I can
That's
imagine, I came here at 19 and yes, and my family were here, like all my siblings except one. So I knew this place was gonna live, but I still missed home a lot, right? When I just came and stuff. So but thank God, with the advent of cell phone and WhatsApp and FaceTime and all this stuff, I'm sure you're calling your parents quite often, and
yes.
so that bridged the gap a little. But I want to thank you. And anything else you want to tell us? Encourage somebody, some person in your school or your neighborhood, or just some who wants to do track, for example, or who's struggling with some issues. How would you encourage them if you remember, if you know, if you want to?
Well, I just like to say, try your best. Always put your best foot forward no matter what you're doing, and never give up. Because sometimes even when you feel like you're not good, you're not doing good enough, you never know who's looking at you or what's next. So just keep going.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you something quickly before I end, and I don't know if you ever lost a race. I think you were injured and you mentioned that.
Yeah.
How was that, Joe, making it sort of, you're out and you're where you want to be, and then you have an injury? What is that like? And you can't compete.
To be honest, it was very sad because it was not my first injury. And then at that point in time, I really felt like I was getting better. And then just when I was getting better, the injury came onto me. So it was very like out of nowhere. And I was just very sad because I just came and there was numerous opportunities this season. And I was just not able to compete. So it was just...
So when will you compete again? Do you know, or you started again?
Next season. Till next season.
When does next
So
season?
I'll be starting training soon though. But yeah.
Okay. So when is your next season?
Well, that's still like next year, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, but you started training, your training's gonna start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what? I like, and I've never went pro, but I've watched enough Olympics to see people get a hamstring strain, just sometimes in the hits or just when they're finishing the race and you see the tears,
Yeah.
So I could imagine. Yeah, you're freezing a little, guys. So I know she's in a place where, she has to be outside. So we thank her still for doing the video. So I could imagine, and I find you very strong, Vanilla. I could only imagine what it's like to get so close and then an injury that you can't prevent reappeared, right? But I like your positive attitude. You're still positive about it. You're looking forward to training. So thank you. And I like the fact that you said, you put your best forward. And I can tell that you're that kind of person, just putting yourself forward, you're smiling through it, a good attitude, and you'll go far. So I like that. We're looking forward to see you pro. I'm looking forward, come back on the show when you start training again and when you compete. And so scouts, I'm gonna ask those scouts come in and look at you guys. How do you guys get to go pro?
Yes, well, normally they contact our coaches who we coach with at the time. And well, want to do like good in your events, the word gets out to the media and so on, and they contact your coaches. Yeah.
Okay, so we're waiting. I want to see you going pro. I follow track a lot. So every one of them on the internet I follow. So I would see you hold up that Grenadian flag real high when you're going, and I'll be like, I interviewed her, and make sure I get that interview when you go pro. Put me on the map, I'm sure. Of course. But honestly, you're a very talented young lady. Not and I'm happy that you can share your story because it's very hard to leave your friends, to leave your family, to leave a comfortable place, to go to a massive, get like you're thrown into an ocean, because Jamaica is like an ocean to us. That's how big it is in comparison to Carriacou. To follow your dreams though. What I want to put out there, and you seem like a person, remember when you've made it pro, reach out, always go Carriacou, go back to Hillsborough, chat with those kids,
Yeah,
represent the
yeah,
neighborhood, get them on to go pro, to get them on the map, but not even just for track, just whatever dreams they have,
yeah, that's
be that vessel to help inspire them. So before we end, anything else? Who you want to shout out again? Anything else you want to say? Throw some advice there for all your little Hillsborough friends that's going to be watching, and cousins and aunties and
well, I just like to shout at everybody in Carriacou generally, because everyone in Carriacou is like one. It's like one family, everybody. And yes, also I just want to encourage everyone, because there are numerous times when there are huge talents in Carriacou and no one sees or recognizes us. And I wish that would change, and there are numerous people trying to help, but then, so I would just like for everyone to, even though we're small, there are huge talents in the island, and it should be recognized.
Okay, so that is really good. So thank you, and yes, thanks for putting Carriacou out there and letting people know there are a lot of talent out there. And thanks to Mr. Trevor McIntosh and the Grenada Sports. Sorry, you froze a little.
Sports and Wellbeing Foundation.
Sports and Wellbeing Foundation.
Oh,
So,
sorry, the Grenada Sports and Wellbeing Foundation. Yes.
okay. So we want to thank Alvanella. We want to thank we want to thank her parents for bringing this wonderful, talented little girl who's grown up to be a great teenager and a talented young lady who's representing her family and her island and her country. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique in Jamaica, and has really following her dreams. And one day we expect to see you pro. And I said expect. So so keep pushing, keep the grades up too. We can't let everything balance, right? We work both. And bring your friends with you. So thank you to Mr. Trevor McIntosh. Sports and Wellbeing. Our next slide will have your friend and your companion that you train with, and I think you guys are going to the same school, called Jamora.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Avanella.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, and stay strong and stay positive. And as you said, put your best forward and forget your obstacles. They're just obstacles. Climb over and keep pushing. Everyone have challenges, right? You just cry if you need to next, So what? You have an injury, when the doctor give you the clearance, and that's what you're really doing because you're waiting to start your training again. So thank you.
Yes, that's true.
Hello and welcome to my channel. We do Women Empowerment Define the Odds. Today I have a special guest with me, Jamora, and I'm really excited. This lady is quite a busy lady and it was very difficult for us to coordinate her times, but I'm really happy that she's here today. And Jamora is from an island in the Caribbean, an island off Grenada called Carriacou, and she's a track star and she's going to tell us a little more of herself. I just want to put it out there because I did say that when I spoke to your teammate Avanella, that my mom's from Carriacou. I visited Carriacou a few times, really love it. So we're going to go right into it. So tell us a little about yourself, Jamora.
Hi, so my name is Jamora Alves. I'm 17 years old and I'm from the island of Carriacou. Well, I'm here to talk about my journey, getting a scholarship and being where I am today in Jamaica. First of all, I decided to stop sporting events. I personally do shot put and discuss.
Wow.
And I thought that it didn't really make sense because knowing Carriacou is a very small island and there's not much opportunities out there. So I decided to give up my sporting career. But unfortunately, Mr. McIntosh, my coach at Carriacou, he had come to me and motivated me, tell me that I'm good at the sport and I shall keep doing the sports, because the potential. And along with my parents out there motivating and encouraging me also, I decided to step back into my sporting field and was able to become successful. I was one of the athletes chosen from Carriacou to come to Jamaica in St. Diego High School to represent my country, my family, and myself. The arrival to Jamaica was very long and exhausted. But however, I overcome it all.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into San Diego, we had a lot. We had also able to be balanced in school and athletics, knowing that you have to be prepared for CAPE. But
Mm-hmm.
once you're mentally and physically prepared, I, well, to me, I know I could have overcome it, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
I also took part in Champs 2021 J3A, and was able to win a gold medal in shot put with a personal best of
Okay, so wait, I'll stop you because that's a lot you told us. So we'll back up a little. Ooh, I'm so excited. There's so much information you gave us there. So you talked about first your shot put and a discus thrower. So you must be a very skilled, strong girl. Tell us a little about, because shot put and discus is not a common thing for women, in the Caribbean, Grenada and small islands like Carriacou and Grenada. So tell us a little bit of that. What got you into shot put? Did you get up one day and realize you're skilled and you're strong and you can throw, or you go practicing, or you always knew?
Well, first of all, I started off in primary school, Hillsborough Government School, knowing I was a person that was always motivated and believed in myself that anything I want to do, I believe that I can do it. So I started off playing netball, running and throwing, and being selected to represent my primary school in Grenada. I realized that shot and discus was actually meant for me. I believe I was born with that because I never had access to gyms and etc. And
Mm-hmm.
I went to Grenada at TV and also won a silver medal. And
Wow.
after that, I just picked up the shot put and
Wow.
discuss and netball at the track events.
So you're an all-rounder kind of athlete. So I did shot put and I did discus too in high school. So when I hear you talk about it, I get really excited. And I did play some netball, but I was more into track. So I did field events and the track, and the 200 was my thing. But so you went to Grenada, you won a silver medal. That's really, really good. I mean, coming from Carriacou and not having at that point though, actually, before I say what I want, did you have a coach when you got your silver medal in Grenada? Did you have a coach, or you were just in high school throwing?
Well, I was just in primary school. Never, never had access to gym, as I said. Never had no technique. All I knew was picking up the ball and pelt as far as I can.
So I can tell you had some skills. So we're gonna fast. So you talked about Mr. McIntosh. So tell us a little bit about him, about the program he runs in Carriacou.
Okay. Well, Mr. McIntosh is a very fine coach to me.
Mhm.
He wasn't really coaching me, but he motivated me into the coaching. He was the manager and he had other assistants helping the young stars like myself to become a better person in
Mhm.
life.
Okay, so we want to shout out Mr. McIntosh, and he provided you guys information. So I want to thank him for that too, because this program was new to me to getting students to go to Jamaica. So we're gonna just talk about you moving. And actually, before I ask you about moving, so did you apply? You say you got selected, so you weren't one of the students that had to try out. I guess you were so good that they're like, we want this student to go to Jamaica. Is that kind of how it worked? And what happened when you got that call that day?
Well, when I got that call that day, I was happy, wasn't extremely surprised because my coach, Mr. McIntosh, has always said that whatever you believe, we can achieve. So
Mhm.
training hard, being motivated, both mentally, spiritually, and physically, I knew that I would have become that successful person one day.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive. Good to you. I like your positive attitude. You knew because you were doing what you were supposed to do, that one day you were going to become that star. So you weren't shocked when you got the call. How did your
Yes.
parents feel though? Did they know before you? Did they already have an idea that you were going to?
Well, my parents was very shocked, of course, and it was tough for them knowing that I'm the only daughter in the family. So
Mhm.
it was a very tough decision for us both. But at the end of the day, it was worth it because I did make them smile and be happy.
Well, you're making me smile too, and you're making Grenada and Carriacou and Petit Martinique smile. And I can imagine your Hillborough, your friends from school, they're all smiling when they see you. And because I saw you on Facebook, I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, so I was like, wow, represent Grenada and Carriacou, so, and yourself. So way to go. Tell me about your journey though. So you came from, Carriacou is a small island and smaller than Jamaica, so it's Grenada. And you moving into a place that's size-wise bigger, population bigger, culture is different. I'm assuming for the most part, accents are different. How was adjusting to that for you?
Well, first of all, living into Carriacou and going into Grenada wasn't a bad journey because we're both connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
On my way to Jamaica, reaching into my destination, it was funny a bit because the accents were different, of course. I hardly
Yes.
could have understand.
Yes.
And coming into my new home, it was okay, but you have to adapt to new things, and of course, adaptation takes a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to overcome everything, adapt to the accent also,
Mm-hmm.
and be and fitting. It was okay.
Okay, so and I like the fact. So I guess you have to be adaptable in your situation. So for my young viewers out there, and for everyone, all the ladies and my male viewers, it's okay. Things are going to be different sometimes when you enter a new situation, but you can adapt. You just have to program yourself that it's okay to adapt to new situations. So tell me about school life because you're managing, because you're busy. I've been trying to track you down forever. How are you
Yeah.
managing school, career? Because track, the shop food and the discus, that's your career. School is you have to do that. Education is very important. So how are you managing both?
Well, as I said, once you leave your country, you should always have a plan ahead of you. So if you leave your country, mentally speaking, that you're coming out here, you have to be able to manage your time wisely. You have to be able to get good grades and also good performances. And of course, there will be challenges that will come your way, but the best tool or the best way you can solve that problem is just praying. Um, Coming out here again, as must say, I was already mentally and physically prepared for this. So
Mm-hmm.
when I come here, train in the morning, come home, take up my book, study. I have training again for 3 o'clock the evening. When I come home 6 o'clock, have to
Wow.
shower, relax for 5 minutes, pick up the book and also study for it. It's extremely exhausting as young stars, but as must say again, just have to be mentally and physically prepared. Everything that happens always happens for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
one day will get the chance to look back and realize, wow, I can't believe that I made this type of decision and I was able to complete it after all.
And as a young person, because you're still a teenager, you're not an adult yet, that you made those decisions and you're moving to a strange place by yourself, well, with, teammates and stuff, but you left your parents behind and you were the only daughter. So I can only imagine how tough those decisions are. But I'm glad that you have that, that assertiveness about you and that positive kind of demeanor. And I can see it, that you're able to do these things. So I know you told me that you were in a competition recently. How was that? A few
That
years ago. Mhm.
competition was extremely well, and I'm grateful for it because when I stepped out into the field, I was a little bit nervous. I was not afraid, but a little bit nervous because it was my first big competition out here.
Oh, wow.
But all those, all those feelings and nervous and belly aches, I just put it up aside of me and said that I've come out here to make myself and family proud. I should
Hmm.
not be nervous of everything because I got this, and I
Mhm.
prayed and I was able to become successful in those events.
So can we ask how successful were you?
All right. I was able to, and the shot put, I came first showing a personal best of 14.93.
Wow,
Um,
congrats.
Thank you. However, I got injured at the end, but
Oh.
injury did not really put me down because I
Hmm.
know I had other event to take part in.
Hmm.
So I had to go home, ice and everything. However, I came back the second day to throw javelin, but unfortunately my hand gave up on me. So never
Oh.
really get to give my personal best and through the distance that I was aiming for. But I finished the competition third during a distance of 35.69.
Wow. So, okay, listen, girl, I love your perseverance because even through the injury, because you, as you said, you have a goal, right? So, you can't go home and cry. You got to ice it up, and tomorrow you got to go and try to throw your best again. So, congrats on that. Congrats on your gold and your bronze medal or place in there. So I'm positive that you made everybody proud. And for all my Grenadian viewers who doesn't know this girl, Jamora, you got to check her out on Facebook. She's a star of Vanilla too. You girls are doing really good. So congrats. How did your parents feel when you told them?
Well, my mom was extremely proud, and my auntie, also my grandmother, my whole family was extremely proud of me. Although we could have get to meet physically to enjoy and celebrate, but over the phone, long distance, it was still okay, and they was happy, and I was also happy.
Perfect. Yeah, I've seen those comments on Facebook. They're very proud. I said that must be from her mom. It's like, oh, go my Jamora. I'm like, okay, that sounds like mom. So congrats once again. So I'm gonna ask you before we tell me a little bit about because the goal though, what's your goal? Is the goal to be somewhere else in the US or to compete in Olympics to represent? What's your end goal for this?
Well, my goal from sports is after completing my 2 to 3 year scholarship out here to get another scholarship to go to college and hopefully one day compete at the Olympics. Well, be a gold Olympian. And also, since I want the career of physical therapist, I chose this career also because it's related to sports and knowing how much what sports have done to my life. I do not want to give up sports, so I also fit in a career of physical therapist.
That's good. So one day when I come to Carriacou or wherever you are, I can come get some therapy from you, whether you want to be a physiotherapist or whatever, get my oldish joints and muscles going. But so do you have scouts? I guess scouts and stuff come to check you guys out in that.
Okay. Yes.
And why that school specifically though? Is that a school that's affiliated with places in the US and stuff, or it's just a school that's really good at like why that school specifically in Jamaica?
Well, also, actually the school out here, they asked for me to come. That was one of the school. I also was inspired by the school because they have good coaches, and one of the coaches here, Mr. Marlon Gill, he's one of the best coaches out here. So hearing all these good things, I realized that myself was definitely made for St. Diego High School.
Oh well, shout out to that high school too. Is it St. Jacob's?
San Diego High School.
Jago? Okay, so shout out to San Diego High School. So Jamora, honestly, thank you so much. One day I hope to see you on the Olympic stage and I'll be like, I interviewed her. Don't forget to come back here and give us another interview in a big studio. Just joking, but who knows, wherever I am, find me, I'll find you. I'm looking forward to see you girls. I'm looking forward to see you on the track. We're holding up in the next Olympics or the next few Olympics, holding up the Grenadian flag. I'm sure I'll see in the audience, I'll see your parents shouting with a Grenadian flag. So we'll know it's them. Anything else that you want to say though? And I like you're very positive. You were expected certain things, you believed in certain things, you followed through and you executed. Anyone you want to shout out, any advice you want to give your friends back home, or just anybody out there who just wants to do something and can't be motivated or afraid to travel and those sort of stuff?
Well, I would like to dedicate a message to the youngsters out there who are not being motivated by parents or families because of certain reasons and circumstances. Some may not have families to support them, but just want to say, when you set one goal, you should be able to work hard and reach that goal. You should not study people because say they'll have people that will motivate you in your face and they'll fight you down behind your back. Forget friends, forget everybody, and just do what you have to do to achieve everything that you want to do.
Okay, I like that. And yes, sometimes you do have to forget friends, and I know you left a lot of friends back home, but sometimes you have to put them on the side for a little bit to achieve your goal. And though you may miss them and you're gonna cry sometimes, but you gotta stay focused. And you strike me like that kind of girl who's focused. So thank you very much. Shouted to your parents, shouted to Carriacou and Hillsborough and your primary school, and Mr. McIntosh, and to all your coaches. Thank you very much. Honestly, good luck. I love the t-shirt and I like the colors. I like the headband. So stay doing what you do. And you know, when you're successful, because you're already successful, when you become more successful, don't ever forget to bring somebody with you, right? Go back and get your friends in high school and get them into track and motivate them. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And guys, once again, I want to thank Jamora. As I said, this lady's hard to find. Like, she's always training. Literally every evening I have to message. She's training, or on the weekend she's in a competition. So I know you're really, really busy and you have to balance school. And, you know, I'm trying to say, could you wake up early and do it with me in the morning? But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this, you know, she has classes, right? So, so I think about all that. But I really appreciate you coming and doing it with me. And shout out to Vanilla. And once again, ladies and gents, and all my audience, remember to subscribe, remember to like, remember to pass it on to a friend. And we'll look forward to seeing you and Vanilla and all your other teammates somewhere on the big stage one day. And good luck.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.